Thank you. Well, first of all, thanks for allowing me to come down. I know you're a busy woman, busy schedule, so I'm really pleased to be here. Now, your title, European Dance Consultant for Nike.
Yes.
That's dope. I love that. So tell me, how did that come about?
The whole Nike collaboration has been a crazy journey for me. Really crazy journey. I mean, I started with Nike in September of 2004. And I actually found out about a position that Nike were advertising, and it was for a dancer for their brand new commercials that was for their new Nike dance campaign. And at the time that was called Take Sport, Add Music. And I'd been going through, at that time I decided I wanted to be a professional dancer. You know, I'd been to quite a few castings and auditions. To be honest with you, I was knocked back from nearly all of them.
Wow.
You know, so it was a really difficult time. And it actually came through to me as an email. And I saw this major sports brand looking for, you know, a new dancer, so I deleted it.
Really?
I deleted it.
Okay.
Thought, yeah, it's not me. So then it came through again. And I looked at it again and I was like, no. Because at that time, I didn't think I wanted the knockback again.
Sure.
And I knew that, you know, if it was a sports brand, they were looking for size 0. They
Right.
were, you know, they weren't looking for me.
So you were looking at the perception.
Totally.
Right, okay.
Yeah, totally. And so a friend of mine, I spoke to a friend of mine, and she said to me, I was at university at the time, and she said to me, I'm going to go down to this audition. Are you going to go? And I said, no, I'm not going to go. She said, will you come and support me? And I thought, okay, fair enough. Okay. Why not? I'll go and support. So the audition, we went down to the dance studio where the audition was, and there was 900 girls there to audition. And we were being told that because everybody was going in one by one, there'd be a 7-hour wait.
Wow. Which is usual, let's be honest.
Exactly, it is usual. You expect to wait around, but I must admit, I looked at my friend, I was like, are you serious? She was like, I want to stay, I want to do this. I was like, oh God. You know, 7 hours, I was like this. Oh.
And you weren't expected to be doing any dancing at all,
No,
right?
not
So
at
you were
all.
just completely chilled out.
Not at all.
Okay.
And it wasn't, I mean, we were the last people in there, you know,
Wow.
sod's law, final numbers. So the casting director calls us in, he said, you haven't got a number? I said, no, I'm not dancing. He said, do you dance? I said, yeah. He said, so you've been waiting here all day, you may as well do something, get in there and have a go.
Great.
So I thought, all right, fair enough. Now, the buzz that had been going around the audition room at the time was that this was Jamie King, the choreographer, you know, worked with some amazing people, worked with Madonna, worked with Janet Jackson, you know, just crazy stuff. He's looking for a booty shaker, and he's looking for a crumper. And at the time, I didn't know very much about crump, and I knew I definitely wasn't a booty shaker. And so I thought, if I'm going to go in there, I'm not going to do what they're asking, unfortunately. You know, I'm a popper, I'm a very sort of like male-orientated styles. I do, you know, pop-in, street locking, hard, you know, hip-hop, that sort of thing. So I went in front of the camera that was being filmed, I was being filmed by, and said, listen, I'm not a booty shaker, but I can do this. And so I did a little pop-in set, you know, that sort of thing. Nice. Got a phone call that evening, oh, you're through to the next round, congratulations. I was like, oh.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Wicked.
So the next round came, the next day it went from 900 girls to 30 girls.
Wow.
Yeah.
They were not playing.
They were not playing. So of the 30, we turned up to the dance studio again, and the casting director said, thank you for coming, fantastic to have you all here, well done. Now I'd like to see your ballet, your jazz, your tap, modern, lyrical, contemporary. If you've done African, we'd like to see that. Obviously, if you've done hip-hop, then I was like, oh, whoa. I've never trained. I'm literally a street dancer.
You've never trained?
I've never trained.
At all?
No, never been to
But you've danced
school.
with everyone. You've danced with Madonna. I mean, you've done it all, but you've never done.
Never,
Okay,
never.
That's interesting.
Never done that before. You know, literally, I learned in the street. You know, I'm a street dancer.
Yeah.
So I took the casting director to one side and I said, listen, I'm really sorry. I don't want to waste your time. I'm not a trained dancer. This probably isn't for me. I'll go now. He said, no, just make it up. I was like, what? He said, just make it up. So I thought, you know what? I've not really got this far in an audition before. I may as well have a bit of a laugh. So I thought, you know, got in front of the camera. I'm there doing ballet with my jazz hands, tapping, you know. I don't know what I was doing. And then, I did a pretty okay hip-hop set and thought, you know what, whatever, you know, that was a lot of fun, I don't mind. So I think somebody in the company had, you know, a really good sense of humour, because I got a phone call that night saying, you're through to the final round. I was like, now I know you're playing. Yeah. Now I know you're playing. Because there were girls in that 30 who were amazing, trained to the yin-yang, and they were absolutely outstanding. So I got through to the final round, turned up at this audition now, not taking it seriously at all. And there was a final 10, but this time it was a final 10 from Europe. So it wasn't just the London dancers, it was, you know, people from Europe. There's a girl there from Japan as well. And these girls were running up walls, they were doing also, and I was just like, oh, wow. You know. And this time, instead of it being in front of the camera, it was in front of the board. So it was in front of Jamie King himself and his 2 assistants. It was in front of the director of the campaign. It was in front of the Nike people. It was in front of the advertising agency. All on a long table doing this.
As they do.
And I was like, ah. So I went into this room. I'd seen the girls before me. I was like, do you know what? Whatever. Went into this room and they explained the concept of the commercial to me and I was like, all right, fair enough. They said, just experiment with it, have a go, we'll see what happens. Went to press play on the music, but Jamie King stood up, he said, hang on a minute. And Jamie King came over to me. Bearing in mind, this is like a huge LA choreographer.
Right.
And he whispered in my ear, I think you're absolutely amazing. Really glad to meet you.
Wow.
And sat down again. I was like, what?
Wow.
Everything went out the window. I forgot I was in a casting. I forgot it was about a job. You know, I danced for the love of dance. That was what I did. You know, I finally felt like I'd made it. Didn't matter if I got the job or not. Didn't care. So in that audition, I just danced. I was like, I went crazy. And then got a phone call that evening saying, congratulations, we'll see you for the fitting on Friday. You got the job.
Wow. Wow. So okay, at that moment, because listening to what you're saying, a number of things is going on here. First of all, you're at a place where you've been knocked back constantly, which is the world of a dancer.
Of course.
But people don't realise just how much it takes, how much thick skin. Hence you go in there thinking, I'm not going to be bothered. But at that moment, when you got it, what was it like? How did you feel?
Euphoric. That's the only way I can describe it. You know, you work so hard for this one break. And for me, it wasn't just a break, it was one of the most amazing breaks anybody could ask for.
It was Nike.
Exactly, you know, so it was such a crazy feeling, you know, and I'll be honest with you, I went through the rehearsals, I went through the filming, I went through the post-production, everything, you know, this was all done in September. The commercial wasn't due to come out until February of the next year.
Right.
Thinking that they'd made a mistake. Really? Thinking that they're going to turn up and go, actually, Kymberlee, sorry, it wasn't you we wanted. Right. I was convinced this is what was going to happen. And it wasn't. I mean, I went through some crazy stuff, you know. I mean, after that, I filmed that. I went to some other auditions, continued getting knocked back. I actually auditioned for a television reality TV show, got the worst knockback of my life, literally, you know, was ready to stop dancing. Really? After that, yeah, that was a crazy time. And it wasn't until the February when I was sort of on my laptop at home, just pootling about, looked up at the television to see myself on the TV. Excellent. Channel 4, prime time, my commercial's on. Excellent. Oh, wow.
So there's lots of things that you've done leading up to that. Obviously there's been a knockbacks, but there's also been some great stuff. Tell us about like the Madonna stuff that you've done and things like that.
Yeah, Madonna actually saw me in that Nike commercial. So
this was after the Nike commercial? Okay.
I did Madonna after Nike. Right. So I did the first Nike commercial. Madonna saw it and asked for myself and Sophia Boutella, who's another Nike dancer, to be part of her new filmings for the new album that's coming out at the time, Confessions on a Dance Floor. So she had a representative basically call me, and obviously I was just like, oh yeah, whatever. Madonna wants you, oh okay, you know, sort of thing, and ignored it.
Again?
Come on, I was like, Madonna, all right, it gets sillier, you know, along the way.
What was the key thing that stuck out for you that she told you?
She actually said to me, you're one of the best dancers I've ever seen.
Wow.
She said to me, and actually at the time she said that, I was sat having dinner with her and her husband as well, and I was super starstruck at meeting Guy Ritchie too, and he said, you know, you're fantastic, you know, you need to be out there, you should be in New York, you should be in LA, get out there and do it. Through working with Nike, etc., I've realised they've said, we picked you because you were the best for the job at the time, you know, your dance style, everything you did, the way you expressed yourself, that's what it was about. And so I can imagine that there were a lot of people who probably weren't best pleased that I got the job, you know, there was a lot of people that auditioned for the position, you know, but this is the entertainment industry. And I like to think that I've opened a lot of doors. I've had a lot of people come and talk to me and say, do you know what? Now I want to get into sport. Now I want to wear sports clothing because I see that you can be big and still make it look good.
Right. You can be big and cute. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's not all about being a size 0. And the majority of the people that I teach, I mean, I teach classes now all over Europe, which is, you know, it's fantastic. But the majority of the people that I teach are all sort of size 0. You know, and anybody who kind of not necessarily questions what I do, but, you know, wonders about what I do and the way I teach it, I encourage them, come along to a class, come along and work with me. And 9 times out of 10, they're usually crawling out of the door once I've finished with them.
You know, your fitness level versus the size that you wear, it's got nothing to do with it.
There is nothing to do with it.
Absolutely not.
And I must admit, I mean, there's a lot more, I've noticed a lot more plus size people getting into dance now, which I encourage completely. You know, one of the things I have said to a few people is, you can't necessarily get into the industry now because there's been this small door open for plus size people. You do still need to have the skill, you do still need to have the talent, and you certainly have to have the fitness level. Because you have to, the only reason why I've sort of got to where I've got to is because I can equal the fitness level of somebody who is.
So Kim, I want to talk about where you're at now. Because you are European dance consultant for Nike. You've done the Madonnas, you've toured the world, you're back and forth from the States, and now you've got the title of businesswoman. Amen. And how old are you, gorgeous?
26.
Jeez.
So yeah, all of the experiences that I'd had, you know, working for Nike, working for Madonna, etc., and looking back at the difficulties I'd faced, you know, the brick walls I'd had to come through, you know, for everything, be the fact that I am a street dancer, I am plus size, you know, and the fact that I had limited contacts, I couldn't get an agent to represent me, I didn't know where the work was, etc. I thought about it and I thought, do you know what, there are a lot more people out there that are just like me, you know, that not only can't necessarily go to dance school, don't necessarily have the right look to get an agent, you know, can't afford to go and train in the studios in central London, you know, these are problems. And there were walking down the streets and going to local community centres, I saw so many talented people.
Yes.
You know, and I thought there needs to be a way to help these people get into the industry. So I set up this company, Funk Physics. Now, Funk Physics comprises of an online information site. It's like a dancer's resource. So everything you need, from being a beginner right through to being a professional, the aim is to find it all in this one website.
Fantastic.
So you get information about castings, listings for agents, you know, if you feel you need an agent, or management representing you, down to articles on, you know, photography, how to take a good photograph, thinking about image, what happens in the casting process, how you should be behaving on the job, how to read a contract, the sorts of fees that you should be negotiating. You know,
so all of the background business stuff,
that you need to be a dancer, which not many dancers actually know about, unfortunately. You know, it's the simple things like knowing that actually to be a dancer you need to register yourself as self-employed.
Absolutely,
you know,
and pay your taxes.
Pay your taxes. So the point of building the company is to bridge the gap, and hopefully I can help other people achieve the success that I've achieved.
Brilliant. And so what's the web address for people to go on?
The web address is www.funkphysics.com.
Okay, great. Now, Kim, whenever we do an interview, we always have something called the face behind the brand, the woman behind the brand. I want to know the real you, the ins, the outs, the dirt, the
sure?
Yeah, I do, okay? Bear in mind, we're on telly at 9 o'clock plus, so you can go there, but don't go there. Okay. All right, so here we go. Real quick, first things that come to your mind, don't think about it, okay? Okay, all right, here we go. First question I want to ask you is, what's the first thing you do in the morning?
First thing I do in the morning, reach for my BlackBerry. Usually, I know it's such a cliche business answer, isn't it? But usually I'm reaching for my BlackBerry to turn the alarm off, to turn over, to snooze for a little bit longer, because that's usually what wakes me up.
Wicked. Primark or Harrods?
Oh, Primark all the way. Hello. For basics, definitely, yeah.
Brilliant. Are you single?
Yes.
You are, okay. If you could marry anyone in the world, who would it be?
Oh goodness, there's a list.
There's
a list. Oh goodness. Oh, there are so many people. The obvious ones, obviously Denzel. Why isn't he single? Come on now. I've been waiting all this time. Another guy that's caught my eye, Wentworth Miller.
Wentworth Miller. Oh yes.
Prison Break.
Yes.
Wow. The old school one, LL Cool J.
Oh,
hello. You know.
All
day. Yeah. Exactly. So. You know, I hope all you guys that are watching, you know, here, single.
But they're like 20 years older than you now. But you
well, you know, the age, it's a good thing, you know. They know what they want in life, and, you know, I've decided now if I'm going to go for someone who's going to be a little bit older than me, because I can't do with the people that are playing about trying to figure themselves out. I want somebody who knows what's good.
Okay, next one. If you had a choice, what era would you come back in?
Oh, what era would I come back in? It's not far off the era I was born in, but it'd have to be the 70s. It'd have to be the era of funk.
Okay. Big afros.
Big afros,
tiny
medallions,
miniskirts.
tiny miniskirts, and Soul Train.
Ooh, yeah. Okay. Feeling that. And last but not least, what is the thing that inspires you? What keeps you going?
Again, as cliche as it sounds, it's probably the idea that, you know, I've overcome quite a few things. There's been a lot of crazy things that have happened in my life, and a lot of things that people don't know about that have happened in my life. And, you know, being able to overcome certain things and still stay smiling, you know, it's and seeing other people still smiling, because I don't know if anybody else ever does this, but sometimes I walk past people and I think, what are they thinking? What's going through their mind right now? They can be big and they can be smiley, but, you know, you don't always know if they're happy, you know. And so I think it's the idea that I think, do you know what? Life isn't always great, but I am happy, you know? And every day there's more happiness to be had. Absolutely. So I think that's what keeps me going. It's the idea that tomorrow I can be even happier.
Absolutely. Kymberlee, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I know you're busy. It's the end of the day, but thank you so much for this time. Good luck to everything.